G'day, Stu here and welcome to UAVfutures. Today we're going to be talking about FPV and specifically cheap FPV. Now if you're just getting into the hobby and you want to jump into FPV, it can be a lot of money to drop some things on an expensive pair of goggles. So I've gone out and I bought some DIY goggles from Hobby King. So we'll have a look at how they come in their stock form and then I'll show you some mods that we can do. So even for cheap you can still have a fantastic FPV experience. You don't need to spend heaps of money to get airborne and have a great time. Alright, let's have a look at them and see what we can do. Alright, so when you first get your Quanum goggles, they're going to come packed neatly in this little box, and this is what you're going to get inside. So you're going to get some foam housing, your FPV screen, some Fresnel lenses just here that's used to magnify it, some foam, and this bit of elastic just here to strap it to your head. Pretty budget, but it only costs you 20 bucks, so you can't complain too much. Alright, let's put it together and have a look at how it goes. Alright, so this is the stock Quanums just here, and you can see they're not too bad for 20 bucks. You've got a relatively clear picture in here, but they are a little bit uncomfortable when they're on your face. I haven't put any of the foam or anything like that in because I am going to mod these in a minute. But on first impressions, they're not too bad if you're absolutely strapped for cash and you need to get some budget goggles. So that's it in the stock form, those cheap goggles, but now we're going to do some little things to it to make it even better. Alright, now first and foremost, we've got to do something about this cutting into your face because it is really uncomfortable in its stock form when you're wearing it. So what we're going to do, we're going to mount some ski goggles to it, and we're going to put them just here. And the most important piece of advice I can give you is make sure your bottom nose, I guess your nose gap here, lines up. Don't worry so much about the space you're going to have at the top, we can fill that in a minute. But you want it to be sitting nicely so your nose is in just here because that'll line it up with your eyes when you're wearing it on your face. So I've got my hot glue gun, which you're going to need anyway, even if you're just using the stock ones. So I've glued my goggles onto the foam casing just here. Now the next thing that I want to do, I've got all this space up here. Now depending on your ski goggles that you use, it might be a really perfect fit or it might need a bit of adjustment. So I've got some old bits of foam here left over from my Tyrannus case that I've chopped up. I'm going to glue them in here, and basically you want to block out as much light as possible. Right, so I've glued my foam in the top here. Now the next thing that we need to do is we're going to take one of the pieces of elastic that came with our little kit, and you're going to sew it to the side of your goggles. So if your ski goggles came with a little slit here like this, you can just sew in a loop like that, or if not, you can sew it directly to the strap of your ski goggles. And the idea of this is, excuse me while I put this back together. Alright, and this elastic is going to do a few things. Number one, it's going to stop some of the light leaking in from the sides. It's just that little bit of an extra barrier just there. Number two, it's going to pull your ski mask into your foam cutout just here, so it'll be a little bit stronger. And the third thing this elastic is going to let us do, it's going to let us mount our screen on the outside of our foam case. So we're going to mount it out here at the back, and we'll have the elastic go around the outside. And that's going to make it easier for our eyes to focus on this little screen just here, because some people can have some eye strain when they're using these Quanum goggles. So it's going to hold our screen nice and snug at the end of our case just here. Alright, now we want to magnify our image that's inside our goggles, and we're going to use this A5 magnifier sheet just here. Depending on your eyes and how big your ski goggles are and things like that, this needs to be at a certain distance away from your FPV screen. So I'm going to find out what my distance is, and I'll go through that process, but yours might be a little bit different. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do, we're going to cut this down to exactly the same size as our little screen just here. And it's important that you find the dead center of yours, because otherwise it's going to muck up your magnification. So I'm going to trace around this and cut this out. And there's my cutout lens just here. Don't worry about these black outlines because they're going to be tucked away in the foam, so you won't see them anyway. Alright, and the way I'm going to find out how far I need to position my lens back inside my foam casing is I'm going to put my FPV screen here on 0, measure how far this goes backwards until it's in focus, and that's the distance that I'll need to put it inside my case just here. Alright, so I've marked where my lens needs to go, and you just want to score out the area without cutting completely through, so it's great to use some of this cut off bits of lens. And the idea is we're going to slide this in here and it'll be held in place. You need to do this to the top and to the bottom. So you can see the little grooves that you've cut out, and make sure you don't cut all the way through, they hold the lens in there nicely. And now I've put the top on, and you can see I've got my lens underneath here, and I've wrapped it in some duct tape, and it's pretty much done. If there's any light leaking through when you put the goggles on, you want to clog that up with some foam or some glue or something like that to stop it shining through. So you can see here a comparison between the old lens and the new lens. The new lens gives it such a more immersive feel and such a larger screen for people to view. These make fantastic spectator goggles as well. So if you want to bring these along for people to see when you're flying around in the park, these are definitely the more enjoyable goggles for people to use when they're just spectating. So that's it from me. That's how to make your awesomely cheap FPV goggles. And I know when I've been flying in the park, people have asked to have a look through my goggles, and I oblige them, and I've sort of float around line of sight. But it's never the same because I can't fly line of sight like I can FPV. So now when I'm flying FPV, I can give these to some of the kids or people who want to have a look, and they're going to have their minds blown. So I can't wait. Alright, that's it from me. Subscribe for more FPV related content, and as always, happy flying. Also, you get to look so cool in the park when you're walking around with these on. Look at this. Awesome. Line up, ladies. Also, I want to give a massive thanks to everybody who has helped me support this channel. You guys have been awesome, and I couldn't have done it without you. So, anyway, happy flying. G'day, Stu from UAV.